Hello everyone and welcome to my humble abode. So there's been quite a few of you who have asked for either a base tour or specifics around the base that I featured in my recent base building tips video. So I'm going to be walking through the base here, talking about design choices, ways that I created certain things to help you build them in your base, and even ways you can improve upon this base itself. So first and foremost, a very common question I received is, what are these pillars here? And essentially they are just the standard wood pillar, but if you own the Bob's Tall Tales DLC, you can open up your inventory, go over to the Cosmetics tab, and under here you'll see Frontier, Steampunk, or Wasteland. These are the three types of skins that came with it. I personally prefer the Frontier for most of them, so you simply will access this here, and as you place it, you can place it down in any type of foundation. Even if in stone, it will then look wood, and then if you want to take it off, you can simply just access it and remove the skin. I really like this one more than the wood because it creates a very nice hard line here. Now this is where I wish I had done a better job of actually planning. Let's just go into creative real fast and I'll show you. Essentially, if you can go through and put down some of the wooden pillars here, you'll notice that the pillars do have to go first. If you go to place pillars down with other objects are in place, like these for example, they just won't work. So you typically need to place the pillars first, but I really liked this skinny pillar, so if you were to do this on an actual pathway, you'll notice it gives it an even more defined line, and it looks really, really good, and it won't hinder being able to walk over it. You can easily go past it. But as we get inside here, you'll notice I did not do that in certain sections, and that's because I would place items that would kind of get in the way of it. Out here, nothing too crazy. These are just the plants that I went through and I picked talking about in the actual base video, where you can pretty much pick up any plant or tree that you want to find out in the wild. There are over hundreds of them, so definitely go find a bunch of them. I actually never ended up putting anything on these pedestals here. And then here basically was just a nice little design for a window. I hate when bases just look flat, so you've actually got the roof that kind of has this nice overhang with the pillars coming down and looking a bit more realistic as the pillar actually connects into the fences down here. So it doesn't look like it's just floating. It actually looks like it's connected to something and has some sort of structural integrity or support. These ones here are the Wasteland ones though. These lights, I do like these, they're pretty cool. And this one over here also is one of the lights. I was just experimenting with different light types. And then this one here is just a torch. For this here, all this really is on the inside is just going to be the half walls and the half ceilings, but then I just placed down the wooden pillar to make it kind of separate and really create another hard defined line with some basic chest here and then the trough there on the bottom. Now opening up the window or the door as we come in here, I needed a way to get up top. The more vertical space you can create on the build, the more you can actually do with your build. If you just had this whole flat floor and then you had your roof be 4 ceilings or 4 walls high, you can't do a lot. But the moment you try to incorporate a higher level in some capacity, you'll be able just to add more specific items in that space. Coming around here though, basically you've just got the wall I designed. Again, it's going to be the half. In order to get this to half walls, you have to go through and place a pillar down here. So it'll extend one half wall, place a pillar. Once you place this pillar in the corner, then it will let you place the other half walls. If you don't do that pillar first, sometimes these walls here in the front will not snap to this directly, because it doesn't consider the edge of another half wall a snap point, but it will consider the pillar a snap point. So that's the best way to create these kind of half by half wall segments, regardless of how big you make them. As you can see though here, this is what I meant. I would have actually preferred it if I would have put those pillars down first, because this would have looked really cool, having this really nice defined line inside, with kind of the workshop space over here and over here. If these would have been more defined with those wooden pillars on the floor, they would have looked a lot nicer. So definitely an opportunity, I think, for me when I was building next time to consider that. But then just looking here, you've got the light sources. Again, another skin, the lamp. I don't like the original lamp. The lamps are just way too bright. So on the brightness settings, usually they're this high. But the standard lamp, if you just go to, let's see if I can find the light here. It is just awful. It's insanely bright. I think it's a lamp. Maybe that's what it is. Here it is. The omnidirectional post lamp. I think that's what it's called. But if you place this down, we turn it on, look how bright that is. And I think this is setting 3. So not only did I place a different light, but you can also paint the colors of the light. If this harsh white light is hard on your eyes, you can actually just take a paintbrush or a different, the spray paint, and you can change the color of this light. And I used a more yellow kind of calming color because this white harsh light is just way too hard on my eyes. So if you have a hard time with the color, make sure you just turn it down to 1, and then also change the color so it looks nicer and it's easier for you. I showed this off on how to build that, so I won't talk about that. But yeah, you can also use storage boxes here if you don't have the vaults. Just make sure you turn them sideways and you can easily access them while standing in this one spot. I like the war map up there, of course, because you can see everything. I do have an exit point. You should always have a second exit on larger bases. That way you don't have to constantly run back to the first one, or if you're playing in PvP, for example, or if you get attacked by a wild Giga, you know, very circumstantial, but it does happen. A little guy over here who actually breathes. So this is just a cryopod. You can basically place any cryopod in here, even babies, and they will just stay a baby forever. And then if you want to, you can actually go through and pet them. So you can pet the guy and he will make cute little movements here. I forget what this is called. I think it's just like a display case, I believe is what it's called. Don't put too many in your base, though. If you put a lot of these in your base, yeah, it's a display case. If you put too many of these in your base, things will just get very laggy. So I would not recommend more than like maybe 4 or 6, unless they've improved the performance since a couple months ago. Yeah, don't put too many of those. Again, I'm very much incorporating plants anywhere and everywhere I could that made sense. The more green and colorful aesthetics you could bring, just the nicer the base is going to look. I did realize I made a boo-boo here. I had somebody point that out, so thank you for pointing that out. Thantic, I believe that's how you pronounce your YouTube name. But yes, these actually automatically irrigate, so you don't need the tap on here. Big boob on my part. But regardless, the vases or the vessels do still look cool underneath the water. You can also use those for like the beer taps, for example. Some mods even have cool barrels that have blue underneath them, so they actually look like water. And then you can see actually for the pillars here, on the Bob's pillars, I stuck these here and these here, almost as in like the nicer version of them. But then on the back side, like the structural support, I kind of just left them blank with that back side of the wood because I thought it looked nicer. So you can easily just add some skins to some and then not skins to the other. You can see I did the same thing with the railings here. The railings on the bottom are all standard wood railings. The ones on the top are also wood, but I applied the skins to the ones on the top because that one's supposed to be more furnished or more luxurious because that's like where my bedroom is located. So you can definitely do that. I've got the barrel storage here, which is great. Got the keypad here as well, which will access and turn off and turn on all the lights. And then coming around the corner here, just the different preserving bins here as well. You can actually stack a lot of stuff on tables. You can put the mortar and pestles you saw. You can put these small storage boxes, these guys here. You can place the preserving bins. There's quite a few other items you can just place on higher things by either snapping them to them or just placing them on top. So definitely experiment with different items. The bench you can't put too much on, but you can put a few items on the bench as well. And then up here we've just got the grill, pretty basic. All the artifact pedestals up here looked really cool. They're all empty because I was not going to take the time to go get or spawn in all 10 artifacts. It still takes some time to do that. But yeah, they could really cool here. You can get one here, one there, 2 on that side, and then the other 6 are going to be up top. Alright, now speaking of going up top, let's head on up here. So these are the basic wooden stairs. You can apply the skins. I really don't like this skin though. Let me just show you the cosmetics here for the Frontier. I don't like it for this specific build. They do look nice, but on these stairs here, it changes it to this different color, brown or ish color, that I just don't like as the stairs. You could also make these the actual stairs and not the ramp. That might have looked nicer, but the wooden stairs you can actually see through, and the fact that there's just an empty box here behind it, I didn't want that. I wanted it to be flush and not be able to see through it, so that's why I left it as is. Coming up here, I just added a different color of lighting. Lighting makes a huge difference in builds. So I've got the yellow down there, blue up here, so they're really contrasting to each other. And then I just also went through and I basically put 2 of the half walls here. And this piece that's sticking out is actually the chimney from the fireplace down below. So you don't just have this flat wall, you have this piece that sticks out. It's part of the build. I did honestly want this to stick out of the wooden roof just a little bit. So I probably would have had to have made this entire build maybe just half a wall shorter for that to have actually happened. So a little bit better planning on my part probably could have made that happen, but definitely something you could try to do. And then I've got the plants, of course, as well. You have your bed. A lot of this up here is going to be all Bob stuff. So I've got the piano, which is pretty cool, which does play real music, by the way, if you haven't used it. You can play any of the OSTs, really. Some of my preferred ones. I actually found as the monkey on here because I didn't realize just how good the Megapithecus soundtrack is. At least the dragon one. That is good. Yeah, so you can play the music here. Got the cryo fridge. More display cases, so very easy to set up. On this side, this is what I was talking about, the pedestals. You can actually stage them. And then when it comes to snapping as well with your pillars, you can snap and add them to usually the center of the wall. But if you place a pillar down, you can then actually snap to that pillar. So if you want to space things out very evenly, you can basically snap this down in the middle, and you notice this actually snapped directly to this pillar, and then again this will snap here in the middle, and then I actually placed a pillar down here where this was at, and then I removed the pillar after I snapped it to it. So by snapping it to the pillar, I kept the spacing perfectly even, and then once I was done with it, I just removed it because I didn't like how cluttered it looked with those extra pillars in here. And then, yeah, just more of the Bob stuff over here. And then this is that nice little balcony that I was showing you earlier. Probably could have done more with it, but kind of was in a rush just to finish the initial video that I released. Up here you can see I kind of just incorporated a pillar design. So pillars just straight up looking like some form of support. I believe I meant to connect them all the way up to the very top. Apparently I never did that, but yeah, you would just run them all the way to the very top. But then, yeah, I also use the railings as an actual support. So I angled one into a normal one, down an angle one, so it also looks like it has some form of integrity. Now, this side, not much going on here. More Bob stuff, special chest, and then very similar stuff. I'll take you outside, though, because outside of your base is also probably more important than inside your base. But on this side, basically, everything is flat. So this whole base was one big square. But on the outside of every piece, it ran squares all along the inside here until you get to the very last. You notice all of these are triangles. So every single side is actually these triangle components on this whole side here and this whole side here. And then these are all square foundations and those are all square foundations. So it basically just added a bit more depth and made it to where it seemed like almost every single corner is slightly rounded. Apparently can't jump over that fence. But they've all got this slight curve to it, so it's not a complete square base. You have a small curve because of the triangles there in each of the four corners. Over here, I really didn't know what I wanted to make, so I just kind of kept it equus here. This gate will open automatically. This is just the standard door, but with the Bob's DLC, you can actually add in a bunch of different cosmetics. So usually you would apply it to a foundation or a wall, and it just changes the look of it, as you can see with these ones here. But if you apply it to a door, let me turn the HUD back on, you can see that you actually have options for what you want to do with it. And so this one is just the wooden gate. I could have made it this one too. I just didn't think that looked very good. Or you can make it a standard door if you wanted. Or, you know, a bunch of different options. But I just liked this one because I thought the gate kind of looked nice. And then if I didn't want it to open automatically, I could just go in here and change that to where it won't actually go through and open automatically. But yeah, I thought it looked pretty cool. And then a different, that's the aberration lighting skin here, the steampunk version. And then I just used more of the plants that I was able to find. These ones you can actually find on the edge of the snow biome. Just over there, you got the kind of frosted tips of the trees. You can bring that back to your base to add some more color to it. You can put quite a few things on water tanks. I actually found out the other day playing with one of my members on Discord that you can go through and actually stack these water tanks, the stone ones, with the crop plots. Crop plots can be stacked on top of them. You can also put these, I believe, inside of them. You can do a whole bunch of stacking. So if you don't know if something can go on top of something else, just try it. It might just work. Oh, the generator is actually stored in here, which you would never know because I've got all this extra decor here. But yeah, and then I went through and I found these glowing lights down in the actual ocean. Here is the greenhouse if you're interested. Kind of a similar design. I just basically used the kind of quarter ceilings with the pillars to kind of create a nice outline, so again it's not flat. And then on the inside here, I actually have a mod pretty much installed on every playthrough where you can just change this to not be that ugly blurry variant. But on this build I left the bottom parts all blurry and then the top part kind of open so you can see like the moon or the sun come in. And then I've just got kind of like all the plant life out here that I built with lights and the different plants covering those up. So you can see there's actually two here. So you've got the actual grass, and then you can actually place a second crop plot inside of it with the Bob's Tall Tales. So a really cool design to where you've got, if I pick up one of them, for example, let's see if I pick it up. They're both gone now, but you can actually go through and place down the one. So this is the grass. And then you can place down the second one, and it lets you put it like inside of it. So it slightly stacks it. It looks a little bit taller, I think, than that one. But it placed them inside of each other, kind of adding an even more unique vibe and aesthetic by combining different flora. But yeah, that's pretty much it. I don't want to take too much time, but a couple people have asked for tours and different things that I did, and that's pretty much how I put it all together. Well, I hope you all enjoyed the video. If you have other questions, other build ideas, want to see me incorporate something, or just try something new, then please leave that down in the comments, and I'll talk to y'all next time.